3 games in for Toronto FC, and Cassius Mailula has 0 minutes of football. This is very concerning, guys. This is absolutely concerning. Hasn't even made an appearance off of the bench. Hello everyone, and welcome to today's episode of The Corner Flag. And you are here with your favorite host once again, Deshane, and we are doing our episode from ISLO Studios. So if you are in Pretoria, you know who your plug is if you need anything media-wise. And in today's episode, we will be going ahead and doing our global roundup of our South Africans that were in action abroad. And I don't have good news. But let's start over and let's go to England, of course, where we have our boy Al Foster still missing in action. They did draw their previous game, of course, against Newcastle. And yeah, Fofana is doing well for them. I think, Burnley would have been a stronger team having Fofana and Lyle, just being at the top of their game consistently, because scoring is definitely one of the things that will help them in the situation that they are in, especially in the relegation fight that they're facing. Yeah, so it would have been nice to have a great striker. They do need to beef up the defense, of course. That's definitely one of the weakest points that has been glaring all season, which is surprising because Vincent Kompany is a former world-class defender. So to find a defender that's struggling with such a thing is a bit weird for me. But yeah, that's just the situation and how it goes. Lyle, of course, missing AFCON, and after the AFCON situation, a lot of South Africans were like, "Oh, why is this guy playing? Well, we need him." So I think that also kind of like contributed to the situation, because not a lot of South Africans had kind things to say. They did feel a little bit betrayed by the whole situation. So I think this is still that playing out, and why we don't see him in any of the match day squads at all. So yeah, our boy England is not really working out too well so far. It's a real shame, but it is what it is. And we're going over to the MLS, okay? We're going over to America as well. We're going to be doing our roundup over there. And that's still not too good news. I mean, okay, it's good and bad. So let's start with the bad news. We always start with the bad news. 3 games in for Toronto FC, and Cassius Mailula has 0 minutes of football. This is very concerning, guys. This is absolutely concerning. Hasn't even made an appearance off of the bench. And I thought that this is something that was going to impact them. I really wish he would have had a loan move, and it still doesn't. I don't understand the strategy from Toronto FC side as well, because at this current point in time, Cassius is taking up, an international roster spot that maybe Toronto could have used, right? So the fact that they have him but they're not using him, I'm not quite understanding what the strategy is over there. Even for him as well, it was always going to be tough. Of course, Lorenzo Insigne right now is, I think the new coach, John Herdman, has just, changed the environment over there, changed the belief in the players is there. But the critical part of what he's trying to do involves Benedeschi and Insigne. So at that current point, it's a bit tough to see, where Cassius is going to play. In the previous game that they did play, of course, where they won at home, there wasn't really a straight up number 9 who was there. Benedeschi was kind of like the striker who was there. Owusu, of course, wasn't on the pitch at the time, and as well as Akinola. So yeah, it's a bit tough. I really wish Cassius had at least moved to another team in the MLS. One that could have used his services, of course. I think there's plenty of teams that need strikers right now. So the excess that Toronto has, anyway. So that wraps it up for our boy Cassius Mailula. We still support and love him, but yeah, hey, we just wish the situation was different. And we're going over to the other side, of course, with Philadelphia Union. Is another player, of course, who plays in the MLS, 19 years old defender, but also hasn't had a minute of football for Philadelphia Union, which was always going to be the case, because even last season he was more so played with the reserves. So right now it looks like they're trying to build him into the first team, but it's going to take a while. It's going to have to wait for his opportunity. But the good news is he is still young, so if he can just grab the ball running, I think it'll be a great experience. And yeah, experience game for him over on that side as well. So that wraps it up for our boy. And the next play we're going to be looking at, of course, we're going over to St. Louis, where our coach Bradley Carnell, who is a former, South African, and not a former South African, he is still South African, but he's a former Bafana Bafana player. So it's great to see what he's doing over there. His team doing extremely well, of course, winning. I believe they played in the Western Conference. They won the Western Conference last season, so that was really good for them. But this time around, we're looking at the player Njabulo Blom. Played last in the previous game, played really well, the stopper, but this time around wasn't in the matchday squad as well. We're still waiting to hear news whether it was like an injury or anything of that nature, which is probably the case because he played last week, right? So if anything, he would have at least been relegated to the bench, if anything, as far as performance had anything to do with it, of course. And our last player, we're going to leave the best for last because we've just had so much bad news. Didn't go so well for us this weekend, but we do have somebody to be proud of course. Hlongwane coming back, being put on in the 66th minute, and scored like a last-minute winner for his team. And he was missing for about 2 games, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, coming back with the goal, justifying his starting position. I think because the coaches knew also, didn't really get a chance to look at him, and the other players who made their mark. Your Clarks were in there, of course. Timo Pukki has been a fantastic striker for them, and Sangbin, of course, over on the wing as well. So it was great to see him coming back and finishing off his performance with a goal. I think it justifies like his place in the team and how important he is to Minnesota United. So it's going to be great for him just to step up the performances a little bit. Last season he did really well. I think he ended off the season on like 13 goals, if I'm not mistaken. But I think not even 13, 22. 22? I need to get my facts right. I'll definitely, in the next video we'll just be looking at that. I usually have these stats in the back of my mind, but I guess the heartbreak of us not doing so well is affecting me. But yeah, definitely great performance from him as well. Probably going to see him in the next game, hopefully as a starter, but I will be here for all of those games as well. But if you have been here for this long, thank you so much for being here, and please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Road to 500, and thank you to all of those who have subscribed. I really do see that, and I thank you for all of those. So if you can, subscribe, share, and let's like the video as well. Up until I see you in the next episode, I'll see you again in the next episode of The Corner Flag.